Do you really want parents here sending your child to first grade where the teacher's not vaccinated and they're not wearing masks?
No!
Well, that's what you get with Glenn Trumpkin. That's what you're going to get.
It's this generalized attitude that whites are being put upon, and we've got to do something about it, we being white voters.
Compromise is not good enough for a lot of my colleagues in Congress. It's all or nothing, and their position doesn't seem to change unless we agree to everything. Enough is enough.
And with that goes the pulse of the infrastructure bills, as Joe Manchin gave it both barrels today. Had enough. Man, I tell you, that guy is talking about sticking to his guns. He is going... So this framework that that all the secretaries, cabinet secretaries, were sent out to
Hype up.
celebrate over the weekend, yes, is finito for now. Anyway, I mean, I keep assuming they're going to get something.
Well, in the progressives, so Jayapal kind of said today, like, oh, we never said we're not going to vote for the bipartisan bill. Like, we're definitely going to get something done. Like, they're kind of backtracking a little bit now that Manchin has sort of called their bluff.
Wait till
So
Wednesday.
we'll
They
see
can't have
what
they can't have a
happens.
vote till at least the end of the week. So wait till Wednesday. Once the elections are done, the progressives are going to say, you see, this is what happens when you moderate. And
Right.
so we
Well, they're already working on that narrative. So a bunch of people are saying, see, we get, like, this is the Twitter activist
You look very pretty
liberal.
today, Alice.
Really,
I was looking
do?
today. What was I looking at? Maybe I wasn't looking at anything. I was just walking and thinking, it's nice to have a
I'm
pretty...
still looking for my Senator Dodd cart
nice
picture.
nice
I
to have
can't
a pretty
find
thing
it.
around the house. You know?
Thanks, honey.
That belongs to
I
me.
appreciate that.
Yeah, we got to get that. I know we saw it recently.
We have a picture of me insurrecting at the Capitol
Yes.
way back in 2010.
Yes, it's a
stealing
great
Senator
picture.
Dodd's
It's
cart,
a very
but I
attractive
can't-
picture.
No.
Fairly risque. We also
Is
have
it risque? I
one
don't
of
think
you,
it's really
one of you
that
riding
risque.
a missile, Alice.
That's not.
Remember that one?
That's
Remember-
illegal, so we don't
remember-
have that.
what-
Nope,
what-
that's gone.
That was the
How was
Department
it
of- That was the Department of Energy.
Was it?
We went into the lobby of the Department of Energy. There was a missile there,
And
I
you
forced her to ride it. A la
A la Dr. Strangelove.
right, but in a more
No.
twisted way, probably. It's a hot
You
picture.
have a mental
I
problem.
gotta grab. Where is that?
We
That's,
need to
that's
find my
framed.
picture on Senator
gonna-
Dodd's cart.
I'll be
That's true.
releasing
It's
all of-
around somewhere.
I'm gonna release
Yes.
all these pictures as DNFs, IDFs. What are they called when there's one version of them so I can get rich?
NFT.
NFT. All of
A
Alice's risque
non-fungible
pictures.
token, yes.
When she was NFTs,
Yeah.
a barely
Somebody had bajillions of dollars of
a
eight
barely
pictures stolen
20
today.
a
on-
barely 23-year-old Alice Shattuck, by the way.
I was more than
It
barely
was
20.
absolutely
almost-
scandalous.
Almost
I've documented it all.
24. The Larry King picture.
Oh.
That's gone, I think. Anson
No, the
has
Larry
my
King
phone.
picture's still up there. The flashing picture?
Where's that one?
People can still find that.
Where is it?
That's a great
Where
picture.
can I find that and delete it off the internet
We
forever?
went to the museum that Madame
The
Tussauds
Wax Museum in DC.
Okay.
We went to
You want
our
to tell the story?
we went to
I
DC.
need it for
We
my
went
work.
to DC on our honeymoon because we're nerds. And we had fun at all the tourist attractions, basically, is long story short.
Right. So there was the wax figure of Larry King is there, and once again at my prompting, Alice flashed it,
He
and we
forced
got a
me to
picture
do
of
all
her.
kinds of stuff.
But the thing
Back
is,
when
well,
I
here's the
listened
thing.
to you and your BS.
Here's the thing. I'm not Charles Manson, Alice. I mean, here's the thing: is that you didn't really have to flash it, Alice. You could just make it look like you were flashing it, but that Larry King got the real thing.
Wax Larry King, not real Larry King.
Point blank, Alice's assets were right there in Larry
That's
King's
not
face.
true.
You did not have to do that.
That's
That was
not true.
Alice. Not
You're
everything.
making things
It's like
up.
it's like putting a live round in the gun on a movie set, Alice. You know, not everything has to be royally gone through with. You know. But there you go. I'm sure the security crew at Madame Tussauds.
Maybe it's too soon
is
to joke
thrilled.
about that, honey.
All right, so. Oh yeah, I'm angry about this right here.
What are you angry about?
You know what I'm angry about? I'm angry about this. Disney Plus has released a new trailer for the new Star Wars series, The Book of Boba Fett. Frig is wrong with anybody who is excited about this. Are you serious? You should be ashamed of yourself, the new Star Wars series. Really? Between that and the freaking Superman crap that's going on with whatever?
Well,
Why
and
do
the
adults
Eternals-
know so much about this crap?
Well,
I don't
and the
get it.
Eternal stuff that, we talked about yesterday with, like, the newest Marvel thing or whatever. The thing is that it's
Hey, you want my
very,
phone?
like,
Here you go.
it's-
You can have my phone.
they're really just trying to, like, stick the Star Wars
have
label on stuff or stick the Marvel label on stuff and, hope that works to get audiences. Like, they're just milking the franchises at this point because they own the intellectual
I
property.
understand they're
And
doing
they're
it
like,
else, but I'm mad at the American public for being consumers of this.
right.
I'm mad that you're intellectually curious about the secret life of Boba Fett. He was on screen
Well,
for an
Boba Fett-
eighth of a second in the original 3 that matter. Okay.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that I think that that's part of the reason he's a fan favorite is because people really like Boba Fett, but he's not really, like, that fleshed out in the
Why
original
would people
trilogy.
like Boba
And then,
Fett?
like, they sort of, like, played into it with the prequels, how they made, like, Jango Fett, and then his son, wants
there's
to
no such thing
avenge
as prequels.
him.
There's
and,
no
like,
such thing as prequels.
there
The
were
damage has been
prequels.
done by the
That's
time that
my
comes out.
generation's stuff.
That's
like,
idiotic. These things.
Our
all
kids thought the prequel. I showed
all of
them
those
one,
are
and they
stupid.
thought it was
No.
pretty cool.
No, what happened in
Mm-hmm.
1977 was an amazing, groundbreaking experience for the entire Earth. It was groundbreaking, okay? And the 2 after that as well. All this crap. This is not. Star Wars didn't used to be a movie. It was its own separate institution. Now this is just mass producing this crap that sucks. Is absolutely bad. I'm mad at everybody who likes any new Star Wars. And I'm mad at adults who are over, 16 years old who care about that and are like, bookmarking The Mandalorian to see a tiny version of Yoda. Jesus, it's pathetic.
Well, and I think there's something to this, right? Because, I find it cheap. Like, okay, so I'm reading the Lord of the Rings to our kid. I'm a really big, like, Lord of the Rings person. I really like it. I think the movies are, like, a B+. Like, you think they did about as good
Correct.
as you can do for a movie of the Lord of the Rings, but they're
Yep.
still not the books, which are, like, 100% A+. So, fine. Like, I like all that. I don't really like the idea that Jeff Bezos is now funding, like, specialty
brother.
extra series of, like, other Lord of the Rings stuff. I'm, like, a little bit on the fence about the, like, Amazon Lord of the Rings other series that's coming out. I don't really want it to turn into this, like, Star Wars, like, franchised junk. And I really, really, really don't like that I now see in my Twitter feed, because I talk about the Lord of the Rings in front of my phone, which apparently records my every move. I now see ads for Build-A-Bear Lord of the Rings bears that look like cute Gollum and stuff. Like, I think that that's weird, and I think that it cheapens the thing that it is, and it bothers me, and I hate it, and I'm never buying it, and I report the ads as offensive every time that I see them. But I don't like, and I know I sound like an old crotchety codger or whatever, but I don't like the commercialization of stuff that I like that seems like good and pure, Like, I think that Lord of the Rings Build-A-Bears bothers me because it's something that sort of seems like higher and better and good. And like you said, how, like, Star Wars isn't just a movie. It's like something else. It's better, right? And, like, I don't know. I think that I don't like how they're trying to turn everything into this, like, Disney-fied thing. I don't want to go to Lord of the Rings world, Like, that would bother me.
Right. I completely agree with you. What do you think about that? Alice, you're right. I'm not seeing you naked here.
What are you looking for?
Your flashing picture.
I wasn't really flashing.
Yes, you were.
Stop. No.
I gotta find that. I did put that out.
It's not true. Fake news.
Damn. I know the guy who posted that. Well, I'm sure I have it. Okay. So we're mad at those people. Get into some. I was walking through Newburyport today, Massachusetts.
Okay.
An old whaling town, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking past all these different houses from the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, maritime houses, this and that, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, like, why isn't that better than watching Star Wars, a fantasy, a 50th generation copy of an original? That's totally about a fantasy that's now woke that happens in space in make-believe. Why wouldn't you want to, like, check out stuff and walk around? I don't get it. But there you go. So that's it. You know, or just watch stuff about World War II like I do. So I'm becoming
or the French Revolution.
Yes.
Or the French and Indian Wars.
Okay, I gotta stop looking for my wife naked on the internet.
I'm not naked on the internet.
Alice,
it's
you are.
not true. No.
But you know what I do
Fake
love, though?
news.
You are indeed. So there's
I do want that Senator Dodd picture though, because I like that.
It's a cute picture.
I like that. He had a cart in the Capitol when we were in the Capitol as tourists.
He was emptying his office. He had just resigned or retired.
And it said on the cart, Senator Dodd's do not steal. And I made light of his sign and pretended to be stealing the cart in a picture.
Absolutely. It was a good picture. I'll try to find it again. It's in a pile. I did see some pictures behind. Nobody cares. So until it's up.
People
then
care. People want to know.
I'll let you guys see everything.
I posted the kids' Halloween pictures on Locals, by the way.
What I do have, or did you go? What I do have is, this is Joe Biden. Listen to this. He's sitting next to Anthony Blinken at one of these G20 events, and he's got a hot mic, but he's also trying to figure out his mic and figure out what the hell's going on generally. And listen to him talking. I like this. I like this Joe Biden.
Anybody there with him?
He's talking to Blinken now.
Is that the guy, the Italian, all the way in the back?
How awesome is that? Is that the guy, the Italian, all the way back? He's like, Mr. President, could you not do this? Blinken knows not to speak near his mic, and I think he's concerned about what Biden's saying, but he doesn't want to seem like he's saying, shut up!
Because he's around Biden off camera and off mic, and he knows that if Biden thinks he's not being recorded, he could be an idiot, because he is.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether we should wait.
Maybe hosting.
All right.
As he's testing the mic.
Should I start? Well, good late afternoon, everyone. Is this on? Hello, hello.
It's on, sir.
Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure this is functioning.
Oof.
Well,
Blinken's
they
trying
wanted
to
me to use this
do
one
some AV troubleshooting for him.
for the press, but can you hear? All right.
Here we go. Now we're going. So
He also fell asleep during one
know
of
what?
the climate presentations.
I'm going to let him go for that. He's in there in a row of a bunch of people. There's a godforsaken, boring-ass climate thing going on, and he nods off. I don't blame him. That would be torture.
I don't blame him either, but he's trying to tell us it's a freaking emergency and we
Right.
all have to give up our cars. So if you can't even stay awake through the presentation about how we're all supposedly going to die, then maybe cool it with telling me what to do. How about that?
Oh, Alice. Cynic. Yeah. Anyway, I don't. It looks awful. That whole event, everything they're doing looks awful and terrible. And until somebody starts talking about,
There's also, they've flown 30,000 people out there, many of them on private jets. There were people tweeting images and videos of like the cars waiting for them to get out of the events, like all over the alleyways, just idling in all the alleyways to pick up all the VIPs.
I know, but it's not.
and stuff.
But you know,
like,
what? Are we going to go there? It's such easy low hanging fruit.
but it's hypocrisy.
Yes,
it's
it is.
true.
Of
It's
course
like
it is.
Gavin Newsom going out to eat when he's not allowing people
Yes.
in restaurants, right? And like that's the thing is it's like, don't expect me to take any of this seriously.
Right. No, because they believe it, but they don't really believe it.
They don't really
but-
believe it.
yeah.
Nobody really believes it because it's ridiculous.
No, if anybody really, really believed it, then they'd be building
Well,
nuclear power plants right now.
Greta Thunberg really believes it
She's a
because she's
moron,
an
creepy
autistic
little-
child. And, but other than that, like the people that matter don't act like they believe it. So none of us should really be acting like they believe it. I mean, like, sure, I believe that human beings impact the environment. That seems like a safe guess. But, like, it's not clear to me that any of the stuff that they're promising to do is going to do anything about it. And it's not clear to me that they know what to do about it. I think it's just one of those things that you have to try and like be smart about your choices, and but you like can't do anything too drastic because it won't, they don't know what to do about it. They don't know. And we can actually deal with the effects as they happen. We can deal with flooding. We can deal with the sea levels rising. Like, these are things we can do stuff about. I remember seeing a news story where somebody was saying Lower Manhattan was going to be underwater by some year. And I thought to myself, like, Lower Manhattan is not going to be underwater. There's too much money in Lower Manhattan for that to be allowed to happen. Nobody's going to allow Lower Manhattan to be underwater.
Right.
That's not a reality of something that's going to happen. So we'll just deal with what happens as it happens. And, like, if we can find ways to make smarter choices, and, I think nuclear probably is a part of that mix ultimately, then I think that will be a good thing ultimately. But, like, okay, so take Tesla, for example. We know a ton of good liberals around us all drive Teslas, right? Mm-hmm. All the electric cars, they're good. They're making a good choice. They don't use any gas, blah, 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 blah. As Biden said, they can drive across the country on one tank of gas by plugging in everywhere, right? And, like, I mean, that's fine, but Tesla really has no competitors. So it was funny, like, on Twitter today, basically, the World Food whatever thing in the UN where they try and solve hunger tweeted about how Elon Musk made all this money, and they were like, oh, like a sixth of the money that Elon Musk made during the pandemic, $6 billion, would solve world hunger. Now, leave aside for the moment the fact that their budget is like $8 billion and they have not yet solved world hunger. So that just makes you question it from the start. But he, like, doesn't give a crap. So he just tweeted at them and was like, really? $6 billion of my money can solve world hunger? Well, you know what? Like, show me the plan of how my $6 billion can solve world hunger. Like, actually open your books and show me transparently what you'll do with my $6 billion and how you'll solve hunger. And I'll sell the Tesla stock right now and give you $6 billion. And they were like, you know what? We'll call you and we're going to set something up to get this money. And then, like, the left is framing it like Elon Musk pledges to solve world hunger by donating to. And it's like, no. That's not what happened. He challenged them to show him how they can solve world hunger if he gives them $6 billion. And they've got nothing because, of course, you can't solve hunger by a billionaire dumping money into the problem.
Whoa, interesting, Alice.
What's interesting?
Nothing. Go along those lines. I got a call today.
Okay.
On the air about a volcano erupting. Mm-hmm. A huge volcano erupting.
Is this the one like off the coast of Africa?
Yes,
the island?
La Palma.
Yeah.
Volcano ash cloud. A bolt of lightning was seen flashing through the ash cloud above the Cumbre Vieja volcano in the Spanish island of La Palma on October 30th. Video was released by Spins. Volcanic lightning can occur when particles ejected become electrically charged through friction. They reported that a magnitude 5 earthquake shook the island on October 31st as lava continued to pour from the volcano. By October 31st, lava had claimed some 975 hectares in the island. Scientists with Copernicus.
Okay.
2,574 buildings in Paloma have been destroyed since eruptions began on September 19th. Apparently this thing... Mm-hmm. Well, what I noticed, what jumped out at me right now, is that on this page it says, I just had to agree to, this is Yahoo News, to terms of service. Okay. And on the page on the top it says, Yahoo has been acquired, and we are changing our company name to Yahoo EMEA Limited. You can find out more about it here. I didn't know that.
Okay.
But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, this guy called and said... This volcano is serious stuff, and it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, and they're afraid, among other things, of tsunamis that could reach the east coast of the United States.
Yeah, I've heard that, but, like, the people that say that have been saying that for years, that this could happen, and, like, I don't know.
But this thing apparently is an outlier volcano.
Okay.
Politicians ask if we could simply bomb La Palma volcano. The Canary Islands eruption is intensifying, and people are starting to get desperate, apparently. Since the Cumbre Vieja volcano began erupting in the island of Palma in the Canary Islands on September 19th, the lava flows have destroyed more than 2,500 buildings, forced 7,500 people to evacuate, and introduced a number of deadly hazards in the area. The lava is showing no sign of stopping or slowing down, so one local politician has a brilliant idea. What if we just bomb the bleep out of it?
Does that work?
I'm for it, regardless.
Just see what happens.
Yes. He said, isn't there a plane that flies and can drop today? The technology is very reliable. And boom, and send the lava. This guy sounds like Trump. It's lava in different direction, he said in an interview with radio or whatever. As crazy as the guy's ideas sound, he's actually not the first one to come up with it. And it's even been tried before. Lava flows are tricky to stop. Shannon Nawataniak, a professor of geology at Idaho State University, said in a BBC interview, humans have had a spectacularly poor success rate at stopping lava. Lava often flows through what are known as lava tubes, where molten lava is surrounded by hard, protective, cool crust. Accordingly, the idea of forcibly breaking them up with explosives is not per se a bad one. It would break through the hard outer crust and expose the lava flow to air, cooling it down and possibly diverting flow to a new route. It's even been attempted before. In 1935, the U.S. Army dropped a cluster of bombs onto the active Humulala flow in Hawaii. Anyway, desperate times call for this is a gizmodo, I think. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and things have gotten pretty gnarly on La Palma recently. Some of the flows are now more than 130 feet tall. Earthquakes of up to magnitude 4.9 shook La Palma and its neighboring islands up to 60 miles away last week. Experts say there could be earthquakes of up to magnitude 6 on the Richter scale, which could unleash a new wave of damage even outside the areas impacted by the lava flows. Dramatic lightning tied to the volcanoes also lit up the sky. Scientists from the Canary Islands volcanology said the lightning sightings have become more common in recent days.
So what's my too long didn't read? What's my takeaway about the volcano? What do I need to do about the volcano?
So here's my thing. I did look into being a climate skeptic. I did look into a couple of years ago the impact of volcanoes on the climate, and there is an absolute correlation of cause and effect. The aerosols from the volcanoes, the theory is this, that there was so much volcanic activity in the 90s that it actually stabilized the Earth's temperature for a decade after or so. And I might have the decade wrong, but anyway. So I wonder how much of the climate is affected by this. And you got to think this thing, the outpouring in this thing, how much it's emitting, what it really does to the atmosphere. Also, how cool is this that we've got a crazy volcano that's just not relenting? I think it's very cool.
I believe it. There are, theories about this stuff. There are years that people think that volcanic activity affected human history and stuff. I mean, this is a thing, but
well, yes.
Yeah, I mean, but also I just don't think there's much people can do about it. I think it's a good a metaphor for climate change because it's despite people saying maybe we should bomb the volcano, I don't know that there's a lot that we know how to do about volcanoes. It might just be an act of God kind of thing where you just have to deal with it and go about your day because you can't really be worried if the volcano is going to affect you because you can't do anything about the volcano. You might just have to live your life and hope that the volcano doesn't kill you. I don't know what you can do about volcanoes, how you can prevent that.
1816.
Yeah.
The year without a summer. In 1816, a volcanic eruption, cooling sun, brought about sleet, snow, and frost. The world experienced a sudden drop in temperatures and an uptick in erratic weather patterns, causing massive food shortages across the northern hemisphere. This is in 1816.
I mean, yeah, there was also a volcano in 1600 that people talk about in the Andes in South America. I mean, but again, I don't. What are you supposed to do about volcanoes? What's my action item from the volcano?
What caused
news?
the 1816's freezing summer? Nobody apparently had an immediate answer, but many conjectured that the crisis weather was due to the positions of the planets, the distance between Earth and the Moon, or sunspots. At the time, Earth was already experiencing the concluding decades of the Little Ice Age due to a period of relatively low solar activity from 1790 to 1830, known as the Dalton Minimum. You should like this geeky stuff. May 1816 in particular had the lowest sunspot number, 0.1. I got to tell George about this. to date since record-keeping on solar activity had begun. A 13,000-foot-high volcano on the island of Sumbawa near Bali, Indonesia, was the primary cause of the year without a summer. The eruption happened in April of 1815 and was one of the greatest volcanic eruptions in history. It's told perhaps as many as 90,000 lives. It ejected an immense amount of volcanic ash. Anyway, it snowed in the summer. Wild weather events in the summer of 1816. May frosts killed off most crops in upstate New York and the higher elevations of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Imagine that. You got a little place in Vermont. Imagine that. Suddenly, it's crops
Raining.
get killed. In June 6th, snow fell in Albany, New York, and Dennisville, Maine. June 6th. In Cape May, New Jersey, frost was reported 5 nights in a row in late June, causing extensive crop damage. Lake and river ice was observed as far north as northwestern Pennsylvania in July, with frost reported as far south as Virginia. Rapid dramatic temperature changes occurred frequently, as temperatures sometimes went from above normal levels to near freezing within hours. U.S. grain prices at least quadrupled, and oat prices increased almost eightfold. Famine, riots, arson, and looting occurred in many European cities, while China suffered from a massive crop failure and disastrous floods. And a disruption in the Indian summer monsoon season spread a cholera outbreak from the river, what's it, Ganges?
Ganges. It's
Ganges,
in India.
all the way to Moscow. So it's interesting. That's it. We haven't hit tornadoes. I'm intrigued by this volcano, Alice. I'm intrigued by it.
Okay,
It
well,
interests
maybe
me.
it will.
You can go watch Boba Fett, the 18th
I am not
sequel,
going to watch
and I'll be
Boba
watching
Fett.
this volcano and prepping.
You're fine. You can prep.
All right. Let's see. Back to politics. I'm sorry, Alice. You know, you win some, you lose some. And it comes with people who I like. I have now become a fan of Alec Baldwin because he's completely insane. His whole life is insane. I like his over-the-top attitude. And he's just nuts. And the fact that I empathize with him for having to deal with that woman. And now I dislike Larry Sabato, who I used to like a lot, the University of Virginia guy pollster, who used to be a really down-the-middle analyst. I thought he was anyway. When he did analysis, it was usually on Fox News, so maybe he was, being cute with Fox News. But listen to this now. He's asked on MSNBC or wherever it is about the race in Virginia.
So how did education become the #1 issue, Larry?
Because one of the candidates decided it was his ticket to the governor's mansion, and he may well be right. The operative word is not critical, and it's not theory. It's race. What a shock, huh? Race. That is what matters, and that's why it sticks. There's a lot of, we can call it white backlash, white resistance, whatever you want to call it. It has to do with race. And so we live in a post-factual era anyway, Chris. This is a post-factual era. It doesn't matter that it isn't taught in Virginia schools. It's this generalized attitude that whites are being put upon, and we've got to do something about it, we being white voters.
What an a-hole. What an a-hole. First of all, to be that so thin, I mean, he's just simply messaging for Democrats there. He's just doing
Well, first of all, anybody who says, critical race theory isn't even taught in the school, you're already way into gaslighting territory when you say that, because we all know what people mean when they say critical race theory in the schools.
Yes, they don't hand out the critical race theory books to all the students and write on the board, critical race theory. It's all the teachings and the little construct that falls within it that they disseminate to the kids in one way or another.
But no, I mean, the liberals who, have all the subtlety in the world when it comes to finding racism and white supremacy and things. Like Colin Kaepernick can say that, the NFL is full of white supremacy because they can sense the very subtle tides of white supremacy. When it comes to critical race theory, they absolutely can see zero nuance. They can only see if there's a class entitled critical race theory where they teach the fundamental texts of critical race theory. Nothing else could possibly be influenced by critical race theory in any way unless it's absolutely the most obvious thing. They have zero sense of nuance or subtlety when it comes to their own stuff. only when it comes to sniffing out theories they don't like are they completely, on board with the most broad definitions of everything. But yeah, you know how it goes. But that's just a starting point of what he says here, right? Like that's just like his premise that he's starting at is like, oh well, critical race theory isn't even taught in the Virginia schools. Like that's. But anybody who says that, you already know is not an honest or a well-informed actor in the conversation.
No, he's just being a partisan and a really angry one right now. It's like he's a pollster who does not like what he's seeing in the polls in Virginia, and he's saying, GD, freaking stupid, they're using this critical race theory, and it's working because it's scaring people into think that they're going to start teaching black history, and they can't handle it. And it's like, oh, man, it's ugly stuff. But, maybe maybe Terry McAuliffe has been paying him to do polling. Who knows? But McAuliffe...
Whatever it is, it does not look... The way that they're acting and the way that the Terry McAuliffe campaign and other Dem operatives are giving interviews right now does not look good for the Terry McAuliffe campaign.
No, it looks small and desperate. Oh, hold on, Terry.
He doesn't believe the nurse working in a cancer ward should be required to be vaccinated. I happen to believe it. He doesn't believe, he says, day one, all masks come off and all vaccine requirements of teachers goes away. That will not happen with Governor Terry McAuliffe. Let me tell you this. We got to protect our students. Today, 1,142 of our children have been hospitalized with COVID. We just lost 2 11-year-olds. Do you really want parents here sending your child to first grade where the teacher's not vaccinated and they're not wearing masks? No! Well, that's what you get with Glenn Trumpkin. That's what you're going to get.
Of course, those numbers are invented. He's already been given 4 Pinocchios by the Washington Post for citing those numbers, and he's still out there doing it because he has nothing else in his quiver. He's out of stuff.
And he thought he'd have the air cover of a infrastructure bill to say, guess what's coming our way, everybody? And it's my team got us. But now he's got nothing. He looks terrible. This thing Friday was a total cluster F. It'll go down in history as an F up for the ages, trying to install racists and in front of the bus is really just ridiculous. I really hope he loses. I mean, we'll see. I'm worried to get to the
Yeah, I mean, anything could happen. I certainly think the New Jersey race is the same time. I don't have a lot of hope for the New Jersey race.
No.
A couple people have asked me about that, too. I mean, I just am not seeing in any of the polls any indication that it's close enough to have hope in New Jersey. I just don't. But the Virginia polls, I mean, 538, which is not a Republican organization, has Youngkin up right now by a point. And he's been gaining steadily, and they have him up by a point in their polling average on 538. He was like up by half a point yesterday. More polls have come out. He's gone up. So
the left hates Nate Silver now. Why? Why is it? He did something to take them off.
Well, I mean, even back in 2016, they were mad at him because he
was delivering poll results.
Well, because he told them that there was like a 2/3 chance that Hillary Clinton was going to win, even though it was like all the other poll aggregators like the New York Times and HuffPost and stuff had Hillary Clinton at like 99% chance of winning.
Right.
He had her at like a 60% chance of winning. And so they felt like reassured by that and safe. And then they were betrayed when Trump actually won. So they're like still mad. They have not forgiven him for that.
Isn't that interesting? Because a pollster emotionally hurt you. I gotta put my lights on, Alice. You remind me.
I'm sorry, your Himalayan salt lights weren't on, sweetie. I forgot to remind you what happened. I replaced your batteries. Okay, they're working.
Thank you.
You're good.
All right, so now the audio came out of the pilot. Let's go, Brandon pilot.
Wait, but I sent you an update on this. It seems like this is older audio. This
right,
is
I
another
saw that.
pilot.
But let's play what came out anyway.
Weather east about 7 or 8 miles an hour. Good visibility, mostly clear skies, 77 degrees. Thanks for coming out flying with Southwest Airlines. Welcome aboard. And remember, let's go break.
Let's go something. I can't really make it out at the end. So now they've found that was like a month old.
So it appears that this is from someone's TikTok video that apparently somebody had tweeted about on October 12th. So they're saying maybe it's October 11th. There was a Braves game. He might have been saying, "Let's go Braves." But the AP story referenced to the pilot who said, "Let's go Brandon," according to this AP reporter, who's the only source for this claim, who was writing a story about the phrase "Let's go Brandon" at the time she was on the flight where she claims the pilot said "Let's go Brandon,"
Uncanny.
where she tried to burst into the cockpit to get a statement from the pilot and was prevented from so doing by the crew.
Is that not allowed? Let's see why.
Excuse me, press, I have to get a statement.
I really need to get in there.
So, and she was probably like drinking wine on the flight or something. God knows. Anyway, so she claims a pilot on October 29th said, "Let's go Brandon" on the flight. So that can't be the same recording, but we're not totally clear. There's no recording of that. Anyway, Southwest is investigating the claim. I don't think there's going to be much they can do because the pilot on Southwest has a union contract, and I don't think this is going to rise to the level of something the union's going to let him get fired for, and I mean, it's so funny to me because the left is acting like they've all been like personally threatened by this. They're like, "My God,
oh man, that Dan Rather piece, Alice.
If I were on the flight, I don't know what I would have done if I would have felt safe." Like the pilot's like going to be a suicide flight because he said, "Let's go Brandon."
Have you read the full Dan Rather piece that you found today?
I have.
The second half, Dan Rather saying, "You sound like people who sit in the bleachers at the stadium." It's so elitist. It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's so elitist.
Let me find this.
I don't want to read it all though.
We won't read the whole thing.
The big ending. He's so angry at it. He's angry at it.
Let me read a little bit. Dan Rather has a piece on Substack today, or I guess last night, where he breaks down the "Let's Go Brandon" issue for us all in detail. I'm just going to read a little bit from the beginning, and then I'll go down and read about the bleachers. But he says, "I have tried for some time to avoid commenting on a topic that I felt should be so far beneath our political discourse that to give it the oxygen of attention would be to play into the strategic hopes of those who are seeking to debase our democracy. But as Yoda, the wise sage of Star Wars, might say, if he was trying to fight those who have turned to the dark side of our national polity, ignore it no longer, I can." Get it? Because Yoda talks that way.
Man, that is. This is, I have a Substack, and this makes me rethink the whole thing. I mean, an editor was badly needed, and a psychologist.
The issue at hand can succinctly be summed up in 3 words: let's go, Brandon. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, consider yourself fortunate. For reasons too mundane to...
For reasons so mundane, I'm writing 8,000 words on it.
For reasons too mundane to fully outline here, "Let's Go Brandon" has become a favorite chant and rallying cry for many Republicans as a stand-in for another 3-word chant that you may have also heard: F Joe Biden, with F for the purposes of decorum in this newsletter.
We know, Tan, why you're not using it. We get it.
Standing for a 4-letter vulgarity. So then he talks about this and about all this stuff. So then we get down to where's the bleachers part? It's not surprising that the F Joe Biden chant began at sporting events, because it is just the kind of thing that happens when tens of thousands of often inebriated fans get riled up over a game, fueling a group-enforced hatred for an opposing team. Adults who should know better sometimes get carried away. But this isn't a game. This isn't something where you act stupid on a Saturday afternoon and then can go back to your normal life once the beer and the heartburn from the hot dogs have worn off. This is our national identity.
There's no elitism there at all. Once the beer and your hot dog essence is gone. What dinks? That's how fantastic is that?
But yeah, you should read the whole Dan Rather Substack piece. It's at steady.substack.com. a party embraces vulgarity. It says that the chant perfectly encapsulates the rotten unseriousness of the Republican Party. Like the smart aleck in the classroom who adds nothing but juvenile taunts. I mean, like, get help.
And, I don't think it's great that I think it's great that they're using Let's Go Brandon because it's so second layer. It's working off of the reporter, and so it's kind of it's smart in a way.
Well, right, and I said this to you this morning. Like, the point of Let's Go Brandon isn't just that it's a substitute for F. Joe Biden, which it is, but it's not like a secret that that's what it means. The point of it is because it so perfectly boils down the whole thing where the media is lying to cover up the fact that people don't like Joe Biden. It perfectly gets to the essence of, you're not listening to us. We hate this guy. We hate this guy. And you're pretending this isn't happening. You're pretending the Afghanistan stuff isn't happening. You're pretending the inflation isn't happening. You're pretending that none of this is really happening. You're pretending all our concerns aren't real. And I mean, that's what Let's Go Brandon means, because people were saying F Joe Biden, and they were like, that's not what they're saying. Everything's fine here. That's why people are saying Let's Go Brandon. I mean, like, F Joe Biden was a thing, but there wouldn't be hugely popular t-shirts that said F Joe Biden, right? Like, it's because it gets to the core of the fact that the entire left and the entire media establishment is in denial about how badly this president is screwing up everyone's lives.
Yes, absolutely. You're right, absolutely. And the fact that it's not just they're not owning anything that they've up to. They're not owning anything, and they've constructed a new reality instead. The new reality is successful historic airlift. The new reality is people being strapped at the border, rather than the reality being the border's a mess, people streaming over.
Yeah, the supply chain problems are because the economy's doing so well.
It's transitory, and people are hearing this. The new reality is that this person...
The data is very clear. As Dr. Walensky said on an earlier briefing today, this is really becoming a pandemic of the unvaccinated. And
the truth is that person has been vaccinated and now has COVID again.
Right.
So people are seeing what's happening. The fact that this administration is living in a different reality, and one that doesn't feel their pain. And they're seeing, gas prices go up and all this other stuff that really hurts and sucks.
Right.
And that the heating oil is going to go double. I don't know what we're going to do in this house.
Yeah.
What?
We're just going to not pay them, probably. Is what
we're going to stiff them. Yeah, and that's going to be more I mean, it's incredible in how disconnected they are, and it's just they're so arrogant. And just like you saw Biden try to fish around with a microphone. It's like he's gone. Unfortunately, the only part of him that's left is the cynical part. They're going to put you back in chains part. And that sucks.
Well, right. He's got his, political muscle memory has taken over. He's got no content left. He just has, the motions that he goes through. You know what I mean? It really... Do you ever notice, when people get older and they start to, lose stuff, but in a way they, weirdly become more, just the core of who they are? All the muscles that they've kept using over the years, they keep doing the motions of the person that they were and all that stuff. That's what it is it's this is all that's left is Joe Biden, who knows how to kind of politic and give a speech and say Joey and stuff, and but there's no there anymore. There's no the underlying person is completely, it's empty slate at this point.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why it's just kind of interesting. I don't but also, this not only is this thing it's catching on worldwide now, but also every corner where there's a crowd, this is happening. Some people are just in it because if you're 18 years old, you're saying the forbidden thing and it's fun. But with many people, there is such deep consternation for this guy from every corner of this country.
Right.
That I mean, that's huge. A marketer would kill for something to catch on like this.
Mm-hmm.
In order for something to go this viral so that people enact it, like
Right.
the wave, I mean, that's huge.
Right. And I think part of it feeds into, too, what we've talked about before, that we're, like, sort of at the cusp of this moment. And I don't know if this is what it was like when, like, Reagan was there or what, like, when he won a 49-state whatever in his re-election. But it feels like we're, like, on the cusp of this big shift because people are so fed up. Like, I was just reading a whole thing about how the polling is shifting about the vaccine mandates. They're starting to lose support because it's like people are seeing that, like, a bunch of firehouses in New York are shut down, that you're losing first responders. And, like, realistically, like, you might want firefighters to be vaccinated, but ultimately, if your house is burning down, you'd rather an unvaccinated firefighter show up than nobody at the end of the day. So I think, like, people are seeing this stuff. The support for mandates is slipping. People are really feeling the effects of a Biden economy on their wallet. And this stuff, like you're right, it is transgressive. It is edgy to say, you know, let's go Brandon and F Joe Biden and this stuff. Like, this is where the cool kids are. The other people are banning Dave Chappelle. I mean, even Jimmy Kimmel is making fun of the people who are getting rid of Halloween. It feels like we're moving towards the energy and the coolness of the political movement being on the American right rather than the left at this point in time. Like, I mean, you can feel
Totally
this sort
agree.
of shift happening underfoot.
Totally agree. And just imagine the fun that's being had in the right with Let's Go Brandon versus the scolding that Dan Rather and his buddies.
Excuse me, this is
it's
extremely
as if they sit in the
vulgar.
Bleachers with a hot dog and beer. Are they drunk? My God! I mean, did everybody not see the beginnings of this country? Do you not know the kind of things that was said? Americans are a-holes. They don't like to be condescended to and talked down to by anybody. Anybody. They don't like to be told what to do. A lot of people who were Mr. and Mrs. Vaccine, when you tell them they gotta take it, say, go fuck yourself. They don't like to be told what to do. And then when you then condescend to them and said, oh, you must sit in the bleachers. And, oh.
You probably eat hot dogs if you think it's okay to say, let's go, Brandon.
Right.
I mean, and not for nothing, too, but, like, I don't think it's a surprise that there are multiple, like, we've talked about the Bryson Gray one that got us kicked off YouTube, but there are multiple rap songs that use the lyrics, let's go, Brandon, right now that are doing really well on the charts. I don't think that's a coincidence. I mean, rap went through the original parental advisory warnings with Tipper Gore. That was considered an assault on free speech, that they were sticking a label on the CDs. You know what I mean? Like, and now these artists are getting kicked off YouTube because of, like, a rap song that they're writing. You think people are going to stand for this? It seems nuts to me to imagine, but, you know, it feels like even, you know, the mainstream culture is now, like, shifting on Biden.
Yeah, I definitely.
And on the left in general, and on this, like, weird, scoldy culture.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And it's freaking great, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful. I can't wait to watch it. All of it happened. By the way, I ran, you know. Did you know that? Are you looking for things to add?
Did you do your interval
hit
training? No, I'm good. I'm all set. I've said my piece.
I did it yesterday. It was not, I'm encouraged. Everything hurts today, of course.
That's good, though.
I'm encouraged.
Hurting is good.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
And you look cute in your navy blue vest.
Well, thank you. This is my new
You're cozy because I refuse to turn the heat on because we're going to have a huge heating bill. So
that's right.
I have not turned it on. Our house was 58 degrees over the weekend, and I refused to turn the heat on. I told the kids to get a sweatshirt. But, yeah, that's where we are.
Austerity measures at the Shattuck household.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you to our Patreon listeners who support us so much. We appreciate it a lot. You can check out our extra Patreon shows at patreon.com/. facebook.com/burnbarrel. We're also at burnbarrel.locals.com. And as always, for free, we're on Twitter at burnbarrelpod. We're at facebook.com/burnbarrelpodcast, burnbarrelpodcast.com. And you can email us if you want. We're at burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com.